So, things you need to know about moving to Oregon. Number one, the weather. There's a lot you need to know about the weather. As someone who lived in both California and Washington before I came to Oregon, I can tell you kind of the comparison between the two. When I lived in California, I really took advantage of how much sunshine we had. It was all the time. Beautiful. Winters would be in the upper 60s, maybe the low 70s, and lots of sunshine. It was amazing. Well, in Oregon, we don't get that so much. We kind of get a mix. In Washington, we would go 3 to 4 weeks without seeing the sun, and it would be kind of miserable. Start to get a little bit of that seasonal affect depression going on. Oregon's kind of a mix, especially depending on where you're at. I like to say from Eugene north, it's closer to Washington, so the weather's going to be more like Washington. And from Eugene south, it's more like California, so the weather is going to be more like California. Here in Southern Oregon, I get a good mix of clouds and sun in the winter, although there are times where it's a week we'll go without seeing the sunshine. It is different in different parts of the state. Sometimes on the coast, you'll get a lot of sunshine in the winter, but you'll get fog at other times of the year. One thing to know about that, and one thing for you to consider is if sunshine is your jam, you're gonna wanna think closely about Oregon, okay? Oregon does in fact have 5 seasons. You heard me right, I said 5 seasons. Because we've got winter, we've got spring, we've got summer, and we've got smoke season before we come into fall. So smoke season is something for you to know about as well. Over the last several years, due to the wildfires in Oregon, and even sometimes they're way up north in British Columbia or down south in Southern California, the air will blow smoke and cloud cover will be in the area, usually around the month of August. And depending on your area, it can be heavier at times than other times. The coast is usually pretty clear, and so is far out eastern Oregon, but there is, in fact, so much smoke in recent years that we have adopted a 5th season. We call it the smoke season. So these are things you need to think about. In addition, we get a lot of rain here. So if you're a pluviophile, if you're into rain, it's gonna be your jam. We also have all 4 seasons. So there's sun, there's gonna be snow. There's a lot of opportunities and a good variety of weather here in Oregon, but there are some pros and some cons for you to think about. So that's the number one thing to think about is the weather. Number 2, you don't pump your own gas here in Oregon, okay? I'm sure you've heard about this a little bit. It's certainly a meme. Oregon is one of 2 states in the US where you do not pump your own gas. Well, that's not quite as true as it used to be anymore. In fact, in the eastern counties in Oregon, you can find self-serve stations that are open 24/7. So in Malheur or Baker or in different parts of rural eastern Oregon, you're gonna find that 24/7 self-serve is a thing. Then on some counties on the coast, the north coast and the south coast, you will find that you can pump your own gas from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Everywhere else, the I-5 corridor and the most populated cities and counties, it's still pump your own gas. Well, that takes some of us some time getting used to. And I'll be honest, there's some days where you're sitting in the line and we're waiting for the attendant to do their thing, and it's like, if I could just pump my own gas, it'd be so much faster. But the reality situation is you also kind of get to know an attendant, and it's really cool. For instance, there's an attendant at one of our local gas stations here who had cancer a few months ago, and she was really battling, and she would still come to work and she would show up. And so a bunch of us kind of pitched in together and started bringing her some tips and just asking her about her day and about her battle and her struggle. It's just another great touch point for a community. So you don't pump your own gas. There's some pros, there's some cons, but that's something you need to know about living in Oregon. The third thing you need to know about living in Oregon is that the outdoor recreation is abundant, and it's a matter of your choice. Hiking, got it. Biking, got it. Mountain biking, got it. Ultra marathons, got it. Fishing, got it. Kayaking, whitewater rafting, sea kayaking, like you name it. Mountaineering, whatever it is. Climbing, we've got it. Outdoor recreation in Oregon is abundant. There are certain areas where if you like to ski, well, you might not want to live over on the coast because you're going to have to drive to Mount Bachelor or Mount Ashland or Mount Hood. But if you're into skiing, you're going to want to live close to those places. That's just something for you to consider. The outdoor recreation is mind-blowing in Oregon. It's really only limited by your creativity and what your interests are. I can think of nowhere else that's quite parallel and has quite as many options as Oregon. Hit me up in the comments. If I'm wrong, let me know. But outdoor recreation is pretty sweet around here. Number 4, there is no sales tax in Oregon. There just isn't. So if something's marked at $1.99, guess what? You pay $1.99. It's kind of cool. It also takes a little bit of getting used to. How the heck is that possible, you might say? Well, the trade-off is property tax and income tax are pretty high in Oregon. In fact, Oregon ranks 11th highest overall in tax burden. So that's taking into account the property tax, the sales tax, income tax, gas tax, all the total taxes. Oregon is number 11, and they do that without a sales tax. So that means, guess what? Income tax is high in Oregon. Oregon has the 6th highest income tax in the United States, and that's to help offset the fact that there is no sales tax. So no sales tax, yeah, true. You pay $1.99 for an item at the store, but there's a trade-off to that, and that is that the income tax and property tax and what you might call the estate tax or the death tax is higher than it is in other parts of the country. Number 5, and perhaps the most important thing for you to know about living in Oregon, is housing is tight. So the housing market has been tight. We never really got to a place where we got back to building after last housing bubble crash in 2008. And in addition to that, there's just been a lot of people who've come to Oregon because they love some of the things we talked about in this video, which means that housing is scarce. Rental properties are tough to find throughout Oregon. Some places are better than others, but you're gonna find in some cities in Oregon, over 50% of the single family dwelling units are not owner occupied. That means like there might be 50% of the city or town that you're looking at has rental properties. And even then, it's gonna be hard to find a rental. For instance, in Southern Oregon right now, there might be 1 or 2 listings that come available. One of the things driving this are some of the economic conditions that have occurred in other states, bringing people to Oregon. Another thing is loss of dwellings due to fire. Another thing is the cost of building and some of the prohibitive nature of building over the last several years. We're starting to see that flip though. Housing authorities throughout the area are starting to lower permit and building costs and trying to really promote building. If you're a developer and you're at all interested in coming to Oregon, hit me up. I've got some ideas and some spots for you. Lastly, the housing in terms of purchasing a house here in Oregon has gone up. Well, all of the West Coast has, which makes it a little bit more expensive, but there is some good news. And that good news is, number 1, there are going to be some great deals out there if you dig for them. So if you're looking for housing in Oregon, it's not a lost cause, but you need to know that housing costs are high. Doesn't mean you have to have 20% down to move into a house. It doesn't mean that you need to have the best credit in the world in order to get a loan. And it doesn't mean that you can't find a great deal on 5 acres outside of some beautiful area that you want. I've got incredible team members all over the state of Oregon. If you're interested in moving to Oregon, I highly recommend that you check out buying. In many ways right now in Oregon, it's going to be easier than renting just because of the nature of the market. I know, sorry, but you come here, you move for 2 years, you're gonna continue to see equity go up, and you will be able to then reconsider your options in 2 years after purchasing. Oregon, in many ways, is a place of abundance. Outdoor recreation, beauty, wonderful people, and some great jobs too. In some other ways it isn't, like housing. So hit me up, I'm happy to help. I can get one of my friends from around the state as well to help you out. And wherever you're looking to move in Oregon, you're gonna love it. Living in Oregon is really a treat. Don't believe all the haters out there. There's just haters on every corner here on YouTube. Trust me, it's a beautiful place. Living in Oregon, those are the 5 things you need to know.